Hiya, I'm going to take a winter swim this afternoon. I've been experiencing a few problems with line freezing up in the rings, and I thought I'd show you one of the ways that I deal with that. Here we go, I'll quickly show you. You need two things. Glycerin, you can get this one's from Laguna, but you can get that from the supermarket. And the other thing that I use are these. They're Wisdom interdental toothpicks. You know, the things you clear out the meat and bits of bacon out from between your teeth. They're absolutely perfect. What I'm about to show you. That cost me a bite. What's happened is the ice, or the rings, are icing up due to the cold weather. And that's going to cause loads of problems, especially with casting and that kind of thing. So we need to get rid of that. The way I do that is just pop it in my mouth and just melt it. Simple as that, really. Next thing I do is apply the glycerine to the rod rings. I use the interdental toothpick. It just happens to be a Wisdom one in this case. Put a big dollop of glycerine in each one of the eyelets. I think they really work well. They're the ideal size, and they've got these little ridges in them on them, which enable them to hold lots of glycerine. What you do is you give each eyelet a good coating. Only seems to be the small rings that cause a problem. The larger rings, I don't tend to bother putting anything on them. Now the sound went, and what I'm trying to explain here is I was getting some very twitchy bites. This is one of the problems you have on slow moving rivers, and the bites can develop in many different ways. I don't often use a rod rest. In fact, I can't remember the last time I've used one on this river. What I do is I hold the rod at all times, and I've got in my left hand I've got a bow of line. And as I first get an indication of a bite on the rod, I feed that line and move the rod tip. So I just allow that bite to develop. In fact, what I did there was I had to actually release some more line. I'm just striking you into a fish. So that's one way of dealing with really finicky bites. Using 10-pound line, you don't claw the fish in. What I do is I've got the clutch set relatively lightly as if I was fishing 6-pound line. But the river I fish has got lots of sunken weed beds, and I don't like to lose fish in weed beds. And I think when a fish locks itself up in the weed, you can actually, so long as you keep a bit of pressure on the fish, they don't tend to unhook themselves and keep themselves free. And that's very difficult to do on lighter line. I always make sure I get all my line in, don't leave any environment, and I play my fish in safely. So there, another beautiful chub. End of the day on free chub from one swim, and that's everything you need there for a winter day's fishing. Glycerine, hot flask, that's a nice little discussion piece. I was using wholemeal bread today, or brown bread, which is pretty darn effective.